Welcome to my review of the 2018 Mercedes Benz CLA. Huge shout out to my friend Yen for letting me borrow his car to review. In my opinion, the exterior of the Mercedes Benz CLA looks fantastic. While the car is small, around the size of a Civic, it's got a relatively long hood, swooping lines, beautiful headlights, and also the diamond grille that Mercedes is known for. The car is basically shaped like a mini CLS, and I think from certain angles, it looks even better. In this really dirt-prone dark blue color, the car is classy and clean and definitely looks like a proper Mercedes to me. The only angle I don't think it looks good from is the rear, where the car looks like it sits just a little too high. Now let's check out the interior of the car. The interior of this Mercedes is beautiful, but a little bit cramped. Forward visibility is good, but side and blind spot visibility are compromised due to the small windows and these enormous B-pillars. Fortunately, the car comes with blind spot monitoring. The steering wheel in this car feels great in your hands, and there are nice fat notches at 10 and 2, and it even looks nice. The instrument gauge cluster is pretty standard Mercedes-Benz with useful information, but is nothing really special. The navigation system in this car is honestly pretty abysmal. I tried using it earlier, and after 3 minutes of clicking, the nav system couldn't even find the destination I was looking for. We ended up using Google Maps on my phone with no problems. Also, the screen isn't even a touch screen. Really pretty disappointing for a 2018 Mercedes. However, check out these beautiful Mercedes air vents. Air vents in all cars should look like this. The radio controls are fine, but as with most Mercedes, it's not the easiest to use as the buttons are just kind of laid out in a giant grid. Also, it's 2018 and Mercedes is still putting number pads in their cars. Why? Now we're in the back seat of the CLA, and as you can see, the headroom up here is really not great. I'm only 5'9", 5'10", and basically my head is already rubbing against the top, so if you're any taller than this, you're probably gonna have to sit a little bit hunched over. So the seat is adjusted to my friend who's 6 feet tall, and honestly the legroom back here is not bad. I still have places to put my legs, and these little cutouts in the seats definitely help. When I opened the trunk, I was surprised by how large the trunk is in the CLA. It's really a decent size and is probably just as big as a trunk in a Civic, which is crazy given how much less practical this car looks from the outside. The rear seats even fold down for extra capacity if needed. Something else I really like in this car is the sliding center console armrest. You can slide it forwards for better ergonomics, or slide it back and gain access to a third cup holder. Also, the CLA comes with keyless start, but not keyless entry. Apparently, when you spend $40,000 on a CLA, that's not enough for Mercedes to include options for keyless entry. What's the point of having a car with keyless start without keyless entry? Yen says he removed the start button and opts to start his car with the key since he has to take it out anyways to unlock the car. All right, so let's turn on to Angeles Crest Highway and see how it does. But before I did that, I had to figure out how to get the car into drive first, since Mercedes decided to reinvent the gear lever for all their late model cars. Shift down to drive, right?
Yep. All the way down.
All right, now let's go on to this back road and see how the car does. This thing is fun. It's pretty quick. It's definitely not the fastest car I've driven, but it is really, really quick. So under the hood, there's an inline 4. It makes about around 200 horsepower with the turbo on it. This car has a 0 to 60 time of around 7 seconds or so. Out here in the canyons, this car is actually really good. Unfortunately, it is front wheel drive, so there's definitely a little bit of understeer if you do push the car. It's fun. Like, this is probably one of the most fun front wheel drive cars I've ever driven. One thing I will say about this car though is I do wish that it was a little bit louder. For something that was really designed by Mercedes to be a sports sedan, when you really put your foot down, it's still really pretty quiet. So I wish, I'm sure you could fix it in the aftermarket, but I do wish that Mercedes put a louder exhaust on this car. This is probably the least comfortable Mercedes I've ever been in, but if you're comparing it to, other sports cars out there that handle as well as this, it's really not that uncomfortable at all. Something I don't really like about this car is the gearbox. So in the city and when you're driving around and not trying to race, the gearbox seems to be really confused as to what gear you should be in, and oftentimes it'll shift up, shift down, just randomly, and I have no idea what it's doing. Out on the road when you're driving fast, it's absolutely great. The dual clutch is really, really fast, but in the city, you know, just for normal everyday driving, the gearbox does hunt a lot. My friend Yen, who owns this car, has been averaging 23 miles per gallon. For a 4-cylinder turbo car, that's pretty bad. Given that he mostly does city driving, still 23 is not great. So I know this car is rated very well for MPGs, but in real world, you know, don't expect to get anywhere close to what the EPA ratings are. Car, it does cost $40,000 brand new, and that's more than twice as much as a comparable Civic or a Mazda 3. And the real problem is that at $40,000 as optioned, you can have the best in-class Alfa Romeo Giulia or the larger, more luxurious, and more comfortable Audi A4. You can also have the more engaging Audi A3 for less than the CLA. What I'm trying to say is that the CLA is a great little Mercedes as it stands when taken by itself, but the competition in the entry-level luxury sedan category is so strong, and the CLA just isn't quite as fun, comfortable, or luxurious as many of the competitors in this category. The only reason I can really think of buying this car brand new is if you're looking for the least expensive car with a Mercedes badge on it. Where the value proposition of this car really lies is in the used market, because it doesn't compare very well to any of its competitors in the category. Aftermarket values of this car have plummeted, and you can find CLAs in great condition for less than $20,000. At that price point, it becomes a lot more attractive, and it's a real steal given that it costs less than the price of a brand new Civic. As usual, thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.